aqueduct, the roads. Yeah, okay, the roads and the aqueduct and the penicillin. Yeah, all right, penicillin.
Did the fucking Romans invent penicillin?
I'm just saying things, Jerry. I don't know.
All right, sorry. You could have said anything there. Wi-Fi. Yes, indeed. Sorry, I got caught up in the bit there, Tom. I was like, fuck yeah, penicillin. No, wait, that was that other hero with the bread.
Yeah.
We done it again, Tom.
We
We
did.
done it again.
We didn't say what? We didn't say hello. Is that what you're
Didn't
talking
say
about?
hello. Didn't say who we were. Just fucking launched into it.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think at this stage, if you've entered the Tom and Jerry show, fuck it, the name is kind of on the side of the can. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, how many people have clicked this by mistake? To be honest.
To be fair, I was in Galway at the weekend. 3 different, completely different people's, different souls. Love the Tom and Jerry show, and they have a thing. All 3 of them had a penchant for completely different things. One, of course,
Really?
was the house one. They were after listening to it a few times. One was the Dolly Parton one.
Of course.
One was God. What was the park one, the crazy park in America where everybody was dying and hurting themselves.
I thought you were going to say Tom. All 3 of them had Tom and Jerry tattoos, like the
That would have been
Lord of the Rings
class.
cast.
But I introduced a new person because I sat down and had a long conversation with 2 comedians and a director of comedy on the day called Lynn, who now is a big fan of the show. She's been binging it going back to Scotland. And Phil Ellis and none other than Milton Jones. We talked in depth about Fred Dibnah, and all 3 of them couldn't wait to get on the plane to download the 2 Fred Dibnah episodes. So
I can imagine they absolutely could not wait to get on the plane, Tom. But there you go. Well, let's throw another episode in the pipe for our new fans here. It went a wee bit Alan Partridge there.
It did.
Like, none other than my friend Milton Jones.
I don't mind. I don't drop many names on this podcast, and there you go. I dropped the name of Milton Jones, and there might be people going, "I've no idea who you." Guy with the standy uppy hair you see on Mock the Week all the time, who does amazing one-liners.
They all had to get a plane to go somewhere, Tom, which tells me that they may not have been native Irish people. So I'm sure they did wonderful things for the people of the comedy-going audience over here, and that's what they did for us.
Mm-hmm.
The question of today's podcast, don't you know, Tom, is what have the Irish done for everybody else?
Exactly.
What have the Irish done for us, Tom? And this is inspired by a skit that you kicked off this very episode with.
Well, to be fair, initially you had a good tweak on it, because at first my phone is just blowing up of late with the Roman Empire, and I've watched a lot of things about the Roman Empire, and I was a big fan of Monty Python as a child, and there's that famous phrase, "All of the Romans have done for us." You know, they were the Judean people's front, or the people's front of Judea, or whatever. And they were like, well, the aqueduct. All right, the aqueduct. But besides the aqueduct, and that's what I had in my head. But you know what? Even in my head, I'm thinking, it's a bit done, isn't it? A bit dunny. And then you went, how about we do the Irish? The Irish.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, do you know what?
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do, Tom. We might circle back to the Romans and give everybody a refresher course on what the Romans actually did for us at the end of the episode. But for the body of it, here's what we're going to do. We're going to tell the fine listeners of the Tom and Jerry show what the Irish have done for us, because we're a small nation in the corner of the world, at the edge of the sea, at the lake of the land, at the
out there be dragons. Out there be dragons.
Out there be dragons, right? Yeah. We're east of fucking Hobbiton when it comes to Europe.
It's true. We are. We're that neighbor that calls over every so often, going, "Hey, hey." But you know, they're glad enough we don't live with them.
We don't live with them. I'll tell you what we have done. We have done a whole lot of inventions. We've brought a whole lot of inventions to the world, and the Irish have invented some fucking crazy shit, Tom. That I didn't know we invented this. I didn't know that was invented by an Irish guy.
You're expecting there'd be a team here. Do you know what I mean? And there's one or two of them. I was like, yeah. Looking around the room by myself, going, that makes. If this ever came up in a table quiz in fucking Shanghai, they would go Ireland. One or two of them now, in fairness. But a couple I went looking and went, fuck off. Fuck clean. And no doubt there's millions that there's rakes, but like every side I went onto, there was a blast of different ones. And no doubt people listening will go, our town invented, you know, because odd places like the town of Burr, very well known for, like, it was pretty much the home of I suppose optics and whatnot when it comes to peering at the skies. They still have one of the first ever telescopes there. Also, town of Edenderry. Oh, I'm naming awfully here, which I never normally would ever dream of doing. Edenderry, center of Europe when it comes to the occult, by all accounts. So anyway,
There you go. Well, we might be crossing the streams on that one. We're going to circle back to Eaton Dairy for that in a wee second. Maybe or maybe not, or in a future episode. But for now, Tom, let's take the listeners through a couple of inventions that, it must be said, Tom, we take them back to the golden age of inventions. Nothing's getting invented these days, Tom.
nothing
Every
of
now
any
and then you
interest
might,
anyway. No,
nothing of any fucking interest. Era fuck it. Every now and then you might get like a new or slightly quicker version of maps that will be better than Google Maps, but only a wee bit. But like, what have you invented here, pal?
not.
What have you done? None.
There's nothing like like you said. They're just. I listened to a podcast briefly with Elon Musk, and it bored the living Jesus out of me. I don't care what that man invents, but by God, he is fucking porridge to listen to. But he was talking about his Cybertruck. I'm like, you just made a truck. And he's talking
Harry
about it
invented.
like he literally reinvented people's travel. And you're like,
He invented
no,
nothing. He
no.
invented a pin in my hole, so he did. But there were a couple of Irish people, Tom, that did invent a couple of good things. So we're going to go through them now. How do you feel about that, buddy?
I'd love to. Love to.
That's 35 minutes of anybody's podcasting time right there. So, like I say, we're in the golden age of inventions, Tom. This is when like new shit was needed and people were going out to do it. I don't know about
Class.
what you're bringing to the table, Tom. I'm just going to put it out in Front Street that pretty much everybody on my list is a man. Terribly sorry, a white man for that. Like we tried for a bit of diversity in this, but there wasn't a lot of non-white men or women of color in 18th century Ireland inventing fuck all.
No,
Terribly sorry.
there just wasn't. And yeah, for another day, we'll circle back. We'll find
No,
something
we'll
for
come.
another
We'll
day.
come.
But
We'll
today,
do a whole episode of Marie Curie some of these days and all the fucking things she did. But like,
poor old Mary, she's still glowing. She's
it's, you
still
know what I
glowing.
mean. God love her. Um, God, yeah, that's actually earmark that one. That's a good episode. Okay,
My
for
sister
some
went to
future
her
episode. Yeah.
university. We went. I partied pretty hard at Maastricht University for a long weekend one time. But that's a story definitely for another. I think I may be
Christ,
slightly radioactive still.
I don't even know what the fuck we'd call that episode, Tom.
Tom's piss still glows. There we go.
We're going to get into a couple of these. We're going to bang through them, okay? A wonderful age. Imagine, like, news comes to you that a thing had been invented. The Wright brothers have invented an airplane. No fucker has ever flown before, and here these guys skipping across Kitty Hawk. Like, you know what I mean?
Unbelievable time. An
Okay.
unbelievable time. Nobody gets excited by fuck all anymore because nothing, even inventions are like, yeah, but everything gets invented all the time. Like back then, they'd gone through a long period of nothing. Then all of a
Nothing.
sudden,
Absolutely nothing. Yeah.
what the fuck?
Oh, Tom, this isn't an invention like, oh, here's a new type of credit card that
Hmm.
isn't the bank. It's an online thing. All right, wonderful. Yeah, whatever the fuck. No, this is an actual thing. I'm gonna tell you straight, Tom, and it was invented by an Irishman. Brother, don't you know? Color photography.
Go on.
The
Something
very
that we're
technology.
literally looking at
I'm
each other
literally
right now.
looking at you in color here, Tom, okay? I ain't looking at you in black and white, brother. I'm looking at you in color. Now, I wouldn't say that's 100% down to this man, but he certainly is a guy that invented a process that made it I want to say palpable to the market. No, they were palpable for it. They wanted it, Tom. It wasn't a case of color photography. No, no, I'm on the fucking fence about that. But he was a chap called John Joly. That's Joly, my friend. And I was there, like, I read his name like 5 times, and I was like, my brain kept going, Dom Jolly.
Yeah. Yeah. When you spelled it
I was
out
like,
there, I'm like, John Jolly. Yeah.
no,
The
John Jolly,
To be
John
fair,
Julie.
to be fair to old John, it was absolutely necessary because here's the thing. When something comes out new, or say somebody makes you something, like you get a cake, but it's not your favorite cake, but you're like, I like cake, but it's like, okay. Or your kid makes you something, you're like, class, but like, I'll wait till you're 20 and you're actually really good with your hands. You know what I mean? This is good, but it's
Yeah.
like, all right. But black and white, it's like, what class? You can take a picture of us and it's upside down. But like, we all see each other in color, right? So
Yeah.
this isn't real. Sure, it's not. Like, cause like, I'm wearing a fucking orange fucking fedora in real life and that's just black. What's the,
But this is
anything we
this
can
is
do with that? Literally, this guy went, yep.
And yeah, I need this to. I need color photography, or not. This is the thing with invention. It's not like I need it. It's not like I want it. It's just I believe I can do it. I believe I can turn the dial up on this. I can believe I can make it better. And that was a chap called John Jolie. He was
Where was he based?
37. He was 37.
37. 37.
37. Okay, so a lot of these fellas have done their best inventing by the time you and me. None of these crossed 40 without having something invented, Tom. So,
Here we are admiring each other's
all
fucking
right,
mustaches before
there
this.
we are.
Christ.
And he's an awfully man.
Get out of town.
What's in the
So
water
the
down there?
so the optics,
I,
the
I,
wow.
you know, um, awfully or Kingstown, as it was known at the time. No, it wasn't Kingstown. What was it? Queens County.
Yes, yeah, Uvalia. Yeah.
Yeah, Queens County at the time. So maybe that'll inform a couple of things going forward, Tom.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
So was he
don't want to.
instructed on behalf? Is that what it is? He was instructed on make it. Get in that
Well,
fucking room and make it coloredy.
he's 37 and he invented color photography in 1894. So he wasn't hurting for spuds as a young fella. I'll
Yeah.
put it like that.
Yeah.
Uh, Spoiler alert: there's a lot of that. All right, but this guy's job was to invent shit, like and it wasn't just color photography, Tom. It wasn't like he was looking at a little uh, lithograph of a cowboy, wondering, I wonder what he looks like in color. Like, how do you know you're going to shoot the right fucker on a wanted poster? We better get photography out of this. He was like, as best as I can dig up, John, and I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought there because I inadvertently just had such a buried such a wonderful pun in there. Oh fuck, I did it again.
Mm,
The best I could dig up about John was that he was a geologist by trade. I can't turn this shit off, Tom.
no.
Sorry, look at that. That was just right there. That's just a great line. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, in all fairness, it is.
It rocks. I'm sorry. Uh, so his skill in geology and all this kind of thing was like he'd like date rocks so he could see how old they were. So he was familiar with various rays and all this kind of horse shit, right? And he also used it to create like he was big into radium, Tom, and he was
Okay.
big into like radiotherapy for cancers and all this kind of shit and various fucking doohickeys and all this kind of thing. And after that, separately, selfies.
Yeah. There you go. This is my rock filter right now. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I gotta put the rocks aside. I gotta put the cancer equipment
You
aside.
know, some fella has some fucking funding behind him, some healing behind him when in 1890, whatever, in fucking awfully, that he can be fluting around with rocks. Do you know what I mean?
He's
Like
he's too he's tooling around here, like
he went on the great, the grand tour for sure. He did. Like,
yeah,
you know,
a man of science. Do you know what I'm saying?
he had a
But
mustache. I bet.
basically, well, here's the thing, right? Basically, he didn't discover because it was mooted at the time that you could possibly take three separate uh, bands of light, the red, green, blue light, and
Mm.
bring them together onto a single. Uh, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking
Is
about,
it an
Tom.
acetate or something? It's
An
called.
acetate page or some such.
Yeah.
So rather than just let light in one go, you had to use a filter to break it up into the green, a filter to break it up into blue, a filter to break it up into the red, and then all that would print down onto the photo. And lo and behold, Tom, you had the basis of the color photographs that you and I still look at to this day. All were pioneered by what became known as the Jolie technique, or Jolly. He
Right.
was a jolly old man. And yeah, although there were other people working on color photography and had their methods and means of making a color photograph, this was the one that became most popular.
Ah,
This was the VHS to the Betamax, Tom. This was the one that won out. And
DVD to Blu-ray. Yeah, I get it.
exactly.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Now, with that being said, and I have looked for the better part of this day, Tom, I cannot find a color photograph of this count.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, crafty bastard probably went, this might kill the first person or the first 10 people that I
Oh
pointed at.
yeah, it could blow a hole straight through their
Find me
head.
some peasants from the fields,
Yeah,
you know.
get me a colorful animal. Get me a fox and a peacock.
Yeah,
Um, but there you go, and there you go. We're not going to linger on these lads all that long, Tom. But there you go. That's what he was doing at the
that's
age
a
of
hefty one.
37,
That's a
pioneer of
hefty one.
color photography in fucking Edenderry or wherever he was.
Jeez, yeah, I went route and I found some absolutely pointless ones that Irish people invented, but at the same time, it was hit me with another one. I'm going to chime in with a
Um,
couple of these.
I'm,
Do you know
I'm,
what?
I'm, gonna hit,
Actually,
I'm
you
gonna
know
hit
what?
you with two in a row here, okay?
Okay,
Because they're
but
linked.
look, just not I'm not pandering to the audience or anything, but I listened to a very interesting uh audio tip. I listened to a podcast, which we are doing right now, but I listened to one the other evening, and it was a woman who was emulating the late Lady Mary Heath from Limerick, who was known as the heroine of the skies. This isn't an invention she gave everybody, but she was the first person, woman or man, to fly solo across Africa from South Africa to London. Back
The
in
fuck?
like, yeah, back in 1896. In around old fucking Jolie would have known of her. Like, only up
He could
not
have
too.
taken a picture of her.
There you go. So I just wanted to throw it out because this woman was emulating it. It was costing a fucking fortune to me
Oh,
to do,
don't you know?
but it just stuck out in my head that at some point in the podcast I was gonna definitely get to say this to you. Yeah, she was a bad bitch. Like she was like fucking yeah. Nobody had done it. Nobody would chance it. Back then, Tanzania all through them fucking place. She flew the whole fucking way.
There you
But
go.
there you go. So just said I throw it out there. Give me
Well,
your next, please. I'll get out of your
I'll
way.
tell you, if she had a fucking crash, Tom, or if she had a come a cropper and smacked into the ground and needed medical attention, she could have called on these next two boys.
Go on.
These next two boys, okay, two separate chaps, all right. Uh, both of them Irish. Okay, here's what they bring. Here's what they gave to us. So, what have the Irish ever done for us, Tom? Okay, how about hypodermic needles, my man?
Good.
How about every injection you ever got in your life? Okay, came through a hypodermic needle. At least they came at me. I don't know. Maybe you've had some of them like scratched on with tattoo needles or some shit. I don't know.
Which, by the
But
way, yeah, I
which
got.
would probably work, right?
Which, by the way, is absolutely verified. Was also invented by an Irishman by the name of O'Reilly, who moved to.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah, tattoo guy. Because I've seen those O'Reilly ones. I was watching tattoo program, and they're really hard to come by. The originals,
Well,
and guys like
sit
to
on
get
him for a minute,
tattooed.
Tom. Sit on him for a minute. We'll have a crack about him now in a wee second, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to tell you about these hypodermic needles, all right?
Yeah,
So every doctor that ever fucking stuck a needle in you stuck a hypodermic needle in you. But did you know the first ever hypodermic needle was a Dublin doctor? Okay, make all the easy jokes you want about hypodermic needles
my
being
lips are
pioneered in
tied.
Dublin. I'm saying nothing. Uh, you know, we invented the fucking things. We should maybe invent a safe place for people to fucking inject themselves, and do another little bit of good. But apparently, we just stopped at inventing the fucking
Hey,
things.
hey, hey! If I throw a dog a bone, I don't want to know if it fucking tastes nice, Jerry. Come on, I want to hear about these
Listen to me.
capitalist inventing men.
Well, it was a chap called Francis Rynd, Tom Rynd,
Like
Dublin doctor.
syringe.
He
I'm
didn't even
sorry.
call it that for himself. He could have
But I
called it a
thought, so you
syringe.
tell me he wasn't a sir, like, and he became Sirind. Oh my God, how did he fuck?
Inventor of the syringe. Well, this is where it gets. This is where it gets a wee bit. This gets
Pointy?
a wee bit pointy because I think he invented the needle, but not the syringe. And a
Hold on.
syringe is not a needle. A syringe is something that squeezes and pushes fluid, right?
So that's the pump.
So
So
that's the
he
pump.
invented the hollow needle. Is that what you're telling me?
Correct and right.
Oh,
I don't believe he invented the syringe, Tom. In actual fact, I think he invented the needle and then just attached it to like a
stuck it in his
bag
mouth
of
and blew it in.
yeah, or like a fucking hot water
What am
bottle
I?
of stuff
What am
and
I
let it drip
doing
into you.
wrong here, Watkins? Come over.
You know, it was more like kind of let me drip this stuff into you rather than let me
You dumb
push this into.
shit. How did you get that far? You made the hardest bit, and then you can't. I'm
It's
getting.
not that he couldn't; he didn't want to.
Oh.
He's like, I'm done here. What do you want from me?
Is that him just
I made a
rips off his
needle.
white
Yeah,
coat and throws it in the corner, just going, look,
yeah. I'm
finish it
off
out.
to I'm off to spend me fucking needle money. You know what I mean? Well, it's like Dunlop. I invented tires, Someone else can invent the car. Fuck
Yeah,
yes. Have
yeah.
enough done.
Uh,
Anyway, this chap, he got all this done, Tom. When was it? In 1845. And he was at the age of 44 at the time. So he was in his 40s. All right. So that's all right. But he was a doctor. But he was he had a patient in given out in Dublin, in a Dublin clinic. You know, this is 1845, and they're in giving out about I've got a slight pain in my upper face. So that's wonderful. People are dying, Kim.
yeah.
Like we got a fucking. But no, he's over here treating this lady with a pain in her face. Uh, and we're giving them like I guess morphine tablets or some shit. And you would eat the morphine tablets or get tinctures or get like little droplets or some shit like that. You know the way like in Deadwood you'd put like a little droplet of
Yes.
laudanum or whatnot in a glass and drink it or this kind of thing. And my man Francis Ryn says, "Nah, come here. We have a quicker way about this, lads. What if I just like shot it directly into the muscle of your face? How about that?" And invented it and made it. And you rest assured, Tom, the first one he made wasn't clean.
And it was rough as fuck too. Like, you know what I mean? It was,
Yeah.
yeah. No,
Uh,
it'll get in there. Trust me, it'll slip right between the pores.
but fucked if he didn't do it. And your woman was there like, yeah, actually, do you know what, doctor? Yeah. Come to find out that's actually quite nice. So you're getting syringed in the face or needled in the face, so to speak.
Cool.
And it caught on, Tom. And last time you gave blood or got an injection for anything, no judgments here or anything like that.
None.
This is not a fucking
This is a safe
anti-vax
space.
podcast, right? This is a safe space. I'm vaxxed up the fucking arse. Forget about it.
And
I'm
yeah,
fine. I
I'm
don't
full
give
of
a fuck
diesel
what
right
you
now.
have. But there you go. Where'd you get it from? You got it from Francis Ryn's patented hypodermic needles, eh? But we're going to stay with doctors. I told you I had two in a row, okay? But that brings me to my next man, Tom. I told you I was giving you two in a row from the medical profession here. Because while my other brother here, Francis Ryn here, was injecting people, we had another chap here called Arthur Leared.
Arthur Leared.
Leared, Tom.
Oh, lovely.
Wexford. Now, he was a wee bit down the line in 1851, so Ryn would already be injecting boys here now. But Arthur Leard is the youngest chap I have on this list. At the age of 29, he invented the stethoscope.
A 20, fuck off. At 29, he
Yeah.
invented it.
There you go. Not for nothing as well, Tom, here now. We have Francis Ryn and Arthur Leard and the other boy at the start here now. So I guess we could nearly, change the name of this episode to What Have Protestants Ever Done For Us?
I was just thinking.
What has the Church of Ireland ever done for us?
Yeah.
But here we are. Look, they had the money and the education at the time. We got to hand it them. I think we've got some dyed in the wool. What am I trying to say here, Tom? That's not offensive to anybody.
Oh, I don't care.
We got a couple of Roman Catholics coming up the way.
I have a few of them here. I have a few of them.
I was this close to saying we got a couple of Irish people coming up.
We got a couple of Teagues coming up.
No, a couple of Fenians coming up. Fucking literally. But for now, this was this chap here, this Arthur Leard, and he was there. He put the ow in binaural. We had our boy. But no, this is our boy Arthur Leard. He was the chap that put the ow in binaural stethoscope. That's now what the doctor listens to you with, Tom, because again there had been stethoscopic equipment up until this point. It was like
a cone or something. A cone.
Like a cone, yeah. Or like a little sort of like old Victorian listening horn.
Yes.
There was ways and means to hear. You know, up until this chap rocked and rolled along, you had ways and means of hearing if some fucker had TB. All right,
yeah,
it wasn't. It wasn't.
I can hear. I can hear your TB is acting up. Listen to that. Come over here and listen to this fella's TB.
Well, now you could listen to it in stereoscope.
I'm gonna lighten things here anyway.
There you go. That's what he did. He tied a couple of bits of metal together and listened to some fucker's chest and was like, "Oh shit, I can sell this." Sell it. He did. There you go.
Would you believe that chocolate milk was invented in Ireland? Now, the man didn't invent chocolate and he didn't invent milk. But by Jesus Christ, it takes a fucking bowel man to put these two together. in
And walk me through that one now, Tom. Do you have a name on this, Goriar?
his name is Jesus, I had it there. 1 second. He was
Would not be it'd be Cadbury something, would you not?
no uh so yeah, so I've written let me just get to it. The man who was first thought to combine these two delicious ingredients was Hans Sloane.
Oh, Sloan.
Yeah, Sloane. Of
Right.
course, he was a physician as well, but he was born and raised in Killie, but in County Down. No,
Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah. Sorry, sorry.
All
but
right. All right.
but look at
We promise you there's some takes coming along.
he's got an interesting story. At least he was studying in Jamaica. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he
Yeah, he
was.
was.
Yeah. Of
And
all places. Yeah, he was
he
on a fucking J1, was he?
he noticed the natives mixing coca with water and drinking it, and he was like, "You noticed the natives, did you? All right." But he tried the drink and he found it fucking sure rank. That's the interesting thing. This
Yeah,
is
well,
how
it would be, yeah.
it's how he came about, like discovering it. And he was like, which is great because you never really hear the process. And this is the process where, whether he invented it or not. I mean, I've invented a couple of things that I have to in the morning when you come into the pub.
Well, this
Like
is it too.
sweet chili and beans on toast. Once
I,
happened,
I have invented two pot noodles.
but he chanced it with milk instead because he wasn't letting off. He was like, "Nah, there's fucking something to this. These boys fucking love it, and it gives them loads of fucking go." So he chanced it with milk after that.
Yeah, to work on the fucking plantations that we're putting them on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But sure, he was going back to Ireland to drag fucking Irish lads back, like the Montserrat of over to Montserrat and Jamaica and these fucking places. Like, but
Yeah.
he
Oh, this so happened to be they were drinking cocoa and water. Yeah, because there was all fuck all else. There was nothing
but
else they were
didn't
giving them.
he didn't bring it back as a
But
treat
so
though. He brought it back. He brought it back to Britain as it would have been at the time. But he brought it back and took a patent out on it and started selling it through apothecaries as medicine, as many of these fucking things would be. So yeah, medicine. And by the 19th century, 19th century turned into a confectionery drink. But he got 2 centuries worth of fucking coin with his name on it, basically as a healthy way to start your day. Like,
it's revitalizing tonic.
yeah,
Simple cocoa and butter. Yeah, look, come here. Like, fair play to him for thinking mix it with milk.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it probably took another little leap to go, geez, maybe heat it up as well. It'd be nice.
Now
But you're basically telling me he invented hot chocolate, right?
yeah, yeah, he invented hot chocolate, something we all love. We all love. And I don't know what medicinal qualities are in it, but look
I
at
gotta be honest with. I gotta be honest with you, Tom. I think I might have said this in the previous podcast. Like, I like chocolate. Don't get me wrong. I like chocolate as chocolate.
yeah.
Don't give it to me in a cake. Don't give it to me in ice cream. Don't give it to me in milkshake. Don't give it to me in like any sort of drinking chocolate because I'm like that's
To be
gay. So
fair, I'm kind of with you on that because I can't remember the last time I had it. No, I can't remember the last time I had drinking chocolate. But I'm going to move on because I want to find a fella for you. And I remember this from our previous Cars episode where you were looking to put an ejector seat into your car. Well,
I had this fucker as well. Go on. Yeah. What's
well,
his name again?
well, he's another fella from fucking County Down, but at least his surname is Martin. I'm just saying, Jimmy Martin was his name. Um, himself and a fella called Valentine Baker.
Oh
So,
yeah. God Jesus. Yeah. Fly the
but
flag high, Tom.
no, but in fairness, look, I'm just saying, Martin and Baker, they had an aircraft company in 1934. And they're producing like the serious aircrafts. They weren't fuck acting around, but they were the ones who kind of coined the idea of, all right, you don't always have to go down with the ship. Like, you know what I mean? If you fucking lost your Luftwaffe has blown off your fucking arse.
Yeah.
Let's put exactly what Jerry McBride wants into this. Let's put a giant fucking spring or possibly gas loaded or whatever. But they put it in the ejection seat. This has been like the 30s, 1930s, but the twist in the tail was while testing their third version, their latest Part 3, Mark 3. Baker took the role to test pilot and he killed. He was fucking killed.
Look, I mean, mistakes were made, Tom. And I had this guy. I had this guy down as well. Um, and he's like, "Oh, he's like the fucking rest of them, Tom. There were ways of getting out of a plane that was crashing before this, and we'd be talking about like biplanes and Spitfires and
Yeah,
like, you
yeah.
know,
Yokes that wouldn't be traveling at fucking past the speed of fucking
supersonic
sound. Like,
speeds or
yeah, yeah,
anything
yeah.
like that. Yeah. As best as I know, they got this thing working around about 1946. So you can imagine with the war on, the be boys like just throwing money at them, like we need something for planes to get fuckers out of these things when they're burning and going down. We can save the man, fuck the plane. We'll save the man, bring him back down so he can go up again and get shot again. Uh, so like I guess beforehand, if you wanted to get out of a plane, you slid the canopy forward as best you could
Yeah.
and like climbed out and jumped off the side of it. But like plane crashes strike me as occasionally more urgent than that. Like
Yeah.
you don't have time to be, oh crumbs, I guess I better slide the thing up. So what this bollocks here, Sir James Martin, what he did there was he introduced explosives to the mix. Wasn't that right?
Yeah.
He's like, don't be
Man.
trying to slide a and I guess like trying to slide the canopy off a plane that's like flying really fast is probably hard because you're pushing against the wind to slide the canopy off.
Yes.
So blow it off instead. Just a little pull of a tug and a little explosive bolt go and the whole canopy lifts. Clean work off. And then you pull another little chit and like a little explosive goes off underneath you and launches you on a tube. And now you are out of the plane, Tom.
It's
And it has
it's up
ceased.
to you at that stage what you do.
It
Yeah.
has stopped being a Sir James Martin problem.
I've, as I said, like if I throw you a bone, I don't want to know if it fucking tastes nice. You just
It's like, yeah, you're out of the plane now. So after this, it's it's your ass, buddy. I think you'll find my ejector seat work. But you're right. The first guy to test it, or as they were testing it, his man Baker was like, yeah, and it exploded absolutely, perhaps a little too good.
maybe the. But you know what? If you're gonna go, that's what you want to do. Like you want to, but it was
No,
all.
Tom, you want to be the lad on the ground with Sir James Martin with a fucking spreadsheet going like, all right, okay, so a little less TNT next time.
And
This is
also with the
sweet.
spreadsheet going, so hold on, 50% becomes 100% of all the takings.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, terribly
yeah.
sorry, Valentine. Yeah, yeah, I know he was a good man.
I have two definite
I
fellas for you, and I have
that's
researched
it. That's
these.
that's my man, James Martin. Like yeah, and then he turned around to the RAF and says, "Come here, listen, this works. Do you want it?" And they were like, "Do we want planes in the middle of a war, sir?" Yes, absolutely. Take all of that, you fucking got.
Um,
More money going to County Down. You love to see it.
this is absolutely very much an Irish man. He was by the name of Vincent Barry was his name from Cork. He was Cork, so he was like 1908 through to 1975. You know what I mean? So he's in relative recent times. And here's the gas fucking thing. He, like, I suppose a lot of inventions, and we don't hear the full story of he actually discovered a cure for leprosy by accident. Yeah. So people were like,
You have my you
bring
have
out
my
your dead.
interest, Tom.
Bring out your dead.
Well, like, okay, so walk me through it.
So he
A
was
fair play to him if he did that.
he was a doctor. I think was he of he was yeah he was a UCC based doctor, Dr. Vincent Barry, and he was well I don't know if I can't actually see if he was a doctor, but he was a scientist and researcher. But he discovered an absolute fucking winner chicken dinner for beating fucking leprosy. But sure that wasn't what he was looking for at all. He was he was actually trying to sort out the TB, the tuberculosis problem. Don't know if he got to the bottom of that. He did apparently did great work for it, but I don't know if he officially got to the bottom of it. But in the middle of all this, he went, "Hang on one second. While we're at it, compound B663, it fucking cures leprosy, lads. Fucking cures leprosy. He saved 15 million people worldwide.
Look at that.
Yeah, 15 million people worldwide. He directly can be attributed to his discovery.
And like, okay, Tom, here's where my ignorance of leprosy comes out. Was there leprosy in Ireland?
No. It was mostly in I suppose sub-Saharan fucking Africa where you have arid conditions where things like that. Bring out your dead,
You're right, and they did like, and here's my ignorance of leprosy as well. It's like a bloodborne disease, or
Yeah,
like
I think so. Yeah.
kind of a thing.
I think we
I'm
had
just
more.
wondering. I'm just wondering how, like,
We had
like
more things like TB and timber tongue and fucking things that affected you because of the dampness of the place. But I think TB
right. So
thrived.
leprosy is more of a.
It's more of a people who could wear sandals on their fucking terrain, where sandals wouldn't have fitted in around here at all. Do you know what I mean? There were people
If
of
you were if you were if you weren't an RTE at Christmas time.
I hey, hey, all I know
Hey,
is they
hey.
pay me just fine. They paid
What
me
can I
just
say?
fine. So that's all
The
I know.
and again, I'm only saying it because if you're testing a drug or a medicine or tincture, whatever the fuck it would be, a poultice for TB, but you discover that it actually cures leprosy just fine, then you do have to been trying that on some lad that had leprosy and TB, right?
Well, I'm guessing he like
They
if
turned around and go like, well, my leprosy cleared right up, but the TB still at me.
well, who knows that? I mean, as a result of the British Empire, because he would have been probably working under the British, close to the British Empire at the time. Chances are his lab had maybe they were able to send over a lad who had a good dose of leprosy, or they had it in a little agar dish, and he was like, "Look at while we're at it, we'll just test it on everything as we go because we definitely
Yeah,
made something here, lads. I think we can all agree that we made a
I think we
thing."
can agree this compound does something, all right? It's not worth throwing out, like, let's
Mm,
head on to it.
yeah,
But there you go,
exactly.
look at that. And all you fucking give out about Cork.
Yeah, I know, I know, I know, I know. Um,
I got one more for you, because we're filling
okay.
up the world with good stuff, Tom. I'm gonna fill up the world with good stuff, and I'm gonna bring this guy back here now. A guy called John Philip Holland, don't you know?
Oh,
Born in County Clare sorry, I beg your pardon, in 1878 at the age of 37. So he was born, what, 1841 ish. So he was a famine baby. Uh, invented the submarine, Tom.
oh, by Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Well, now, okay, like, I will say again, terms and conditions apply. But this is my man, John Philip Holland. Doesn't appear to have been from a rich family. His dad was just like the Coast Guard.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah.
and his mom was like a native Irish speaker, so she was like I guess like from the Gaeltachts over there. Like maybe his dad was with the Royal Coast Guard. Yeah, I sincerely doubt that there's any sort of Irish Coast Guard keeping it well. So okay, you know what I mean? Like, okay, there's
Mm.
there's a bit of the landed gentry in him a wee bit, but he doesn't appear to have been rich of any sorts, and he just got into engineering and shit like that. He got enough to go to school to engineer things, Tom. And it's not again like here these days we'll engineer you a slightly better version of something we've had for a long time. We'll actually make things, and we'll make all manners of shit, and we'll make patents, and we get them out here. And he made the fucking submarine, Tom.
Fuck.
Now, like,
Fuck.
I say he made the submarine, it's kind of like saying Henry Ford made the car.
Well, he made the production line
I
that,
beg your pardon. I
yeah.
beg your pardon. It's kind of like saying Henry Ford made the wheel. He
Oh,
didn't,
okay,
but he put
right.
four wheels on a great car and rolled it off a production line and blah blah blah. Because there was submarines going back to the Greeks. Like there was submarines going back to like fucking ancient Greece and 1500s and all this kind of shit.
Right.
But it was basically like a thing you drag behind a ship and it would go under the water and all. But we're talking about what our man over here, uh, he made like
A
the
usable thing.
self-propelled, usable, has an engine, goes where it wants, goes underwater, comes back up, doesn't burst and drown everybody in it. Actual usable, sink the Lusitania submarine.
Well, he fucking made a submarine. He invented the submarine, so as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, he did. He made what became known as a Holland class submarine.
Didn't we invent didn't we invent torpedoes as well, just to go along with
Yeah,
that?
some other fucker on the west coast invented guided torpedoes, which was like torpedoes were a thing, but they went where you sent them. But this lad like invented them that had little strings on them that you could steer them, like mile long strings that you could steer them like kites left and right until they smash into a boat. And
Well, I
if they
mean,
didn't,
that's
you
the
just
nexus. That
re
is the
yeah.
nexus of. And if anybody wants to go to listen to our "What Are You Drinking?" Hooch from Around the
Oh
World
yeah, shit, yeah.
episode, you'll find crazy bastards and torpedoes. But to go back to who, if it was okay, with strings and you're pulling on it and all the rest. You got to start somewhere. I mean,
You got to start somewhere. You got yeah, and I think with these old torpedoes, Tom, like if they didn't hit anything, you could sort of like just catch them by the wires and reel them back into the ship and twist up the dial again and let them go have another go.
fuck it. That's a great joke, but that's
There
that's
you
about
go.
where I would start with it.
Yeah, and that
I
wasn't John Philip Holland that did it. He had the submarines, and the U.S. Navy were like, "Yeah, go on, we'll take all of them you got." Um, but he was bankrolled, or he was in league with, or how he got his money to make these things and prototypes. Was he was with the Fenian movement, the
oh
revolutionaries, and they were there like, "Yeah, yeah, go on, we'll sort of help you out with these." And I guess maybe we'll get a few of them at the end and sink a couple of fucking British ships, maybe. So the first submarine he made was called the Fenian Ram.
wow,
Yeah,
wow,
that's
that sounds like a fucking Wolf Tones tour.
that's like what Lion-O from the Thundercats would fucking drive.
If he was born in the fucking South Armagh.
We got to get to the Fenian Ram.
I'm going to finish off with one
You
fella, and
you wrap us up there, buddy.
he's a working class hero. He's a working class hero from the Liberties in Dublin, and his name is Joseph Murphy. He will have touched many people's lips throughout throughout. People listen to this, and you probably don't have no idea. Prior to Joseph Murphy fucking stepping out from behind his mother's apron, there was crisps. There were crisps, but they were boring, plain, fucking fried crisps. They were plain. There was no flavor to them.
Potato shavings.
Potato shavings. Um, well, this chap who went on to be known affectionately as Spud Murphy, the original fucking Spud Murphy,
The OG Spud Murphy.
he was in the 1950s, and he introduced during the 1950s, he started his own potato making company and introduced fucking cheese and onion flavor to his company, better known as Tato.
No, so not Sam Spuds.
Not Sam fucking no. Sam Spuds. Absolutely not
This
Sam
is
Spuds.
so Tato was actually the first flavored crisp in the
First
world.
flavored, and cheese and onion is what he went for. He thought they'd be two great flavors to put together. And he wasn't fucking wrong, I'll tell you
Yeah,
that. That was
yeah, you know what I
that
tell
was
you, it was bang tidy.
right prior to that. Everywhere worldwide, if there was potato shavings fried in any way, they just had no flavor. They
Do you know
just
what they were probably like, Tom? Did you ever get them? Did you ever go to like Oktoberfest or some shit, and they give
yeah,
you like they give you like a cone of crisps with no
yeah.
flavor on them?
And you're like, what
I
is
do.
this fucking sadness?
I gotta tell you, it does appeal to me. I do like it, but
Oh, I love
at the
the
same
idea
time,
of it. But when you're swigging fucking steins of beer, the number one thing you need is a salty fucking savory fucking flavor. Don't give me fucking what my eyes think are going to be crisps of a nice stinky flavor. Instead, you give me boring out. No, well done, Spud
well, look at
Murphy.
there you go. Well done, Spud Murphy, up in the Liberties, where also Guinness, I guess, was invented.
Yeah, but again, the Guinnesses weren't exactly hard up. You know what I mean?
Well, no, I mean this is it too. Yeah,
Well, I mean, there's a
Arthur Guinness didn't
rake.
invent Guinness and Nixers. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It wasn't coming home from a job as a plumber and fucking turning out Guinness at the same time.
no,
But
no,
there you
no.
go, crisps and I tell you, Tom, crisps and fucking beer in such a small radius. I'll tell you.
It makes for yeah, it makes sense. It does make sense that it happened.
Yeah,
Literally,
not for nothing, not for nothing as well, Tom. Up, if you have a feed of Guinness and crisps, and the next day you want to fry, Denny's rashers.
no way did Denny invent the rasher.
Denny invented the rasher. Mr. Denny, his name escapes me, but Mr. Denny invented the rasher. Said, "Hang on a second, we'll come back here with that ham and we shave it into wee bits."
And we fry it up either side.
And we made the
Give me a
bacon
cut of bread.
rasher.
Give me a cut of bread.
We gave you guided torpedoes and bacon. You're fucking welcome.
By Jesus Christ. There's rakes more. There's fucking rakes, but we have an hour. We're gonna do this show in an hour, and that's that. But I started off with the Life of Brian moment and all the rest of it. There's an embarrassing amount of fucking things that the Romans invented. But again, a lot of the things they improved on a lot of the things that the Greeks, and I mean, if you were to, believe in conspiracy theories, the Tartarians and the fucking, the aliens before that in Egypt and everything else. But look, we're not fucking going back that far. We're just going to go as far as Romans in Roman times. Shit, we can still see today that we can go, that's Roman. Our calendar. our calendar is as a result of the Romans, the Julian calendar, the Gregorian calendar. They basically aligned it properly for us. The Greeks had kind of put it together somewhat, but really the likes of Julius Caesar and whatnot, he was the boy went, no, 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 no. We need to work this around how the sun is actually fucking working, lads, because we're actually fuck acting around here. Just fucking, we're got a thumb up in the sky, hoping to fuck that the day is gonna. No, we need, and it was all based around war. Everything was based around war and how they needed to calculate how many days they need to get to war and how many days to get back and everything else. And we needed to actually have fucking timings of this carry on, because you'll hear blind boys say, time is just a construct of man. It's fucking, if there was just purely a construct of man, then we wouldn't have a sun that goes around, that we go around and all the rest of it. But the calendar can be derived straight, known as the Julian calendar, 365 days long, with a leap year every 4 years, forms the basis of also known as the Gregorian calendar.
Yeah. It's imperfect, Tom. I will tell you. Like, this
it is imperfect. It is
September shit. Like, I think we could have done it a little bit smoother.
Well, we have what we have.
Well, all right, fair enough.
We have what we have. I mean, yes, you'll hear people say, "Well, every 72 years there's a procession," and they because the Earth actually wobbles a little bit. Oh, okay, all right. Apologies. Yeah. Underfloor heating, relatively new invention. You think today? You or I didn't grow up with underfloor heating, did we?
No.
Well, Jerry, 'tis around since fucking old God's time. 'Tis around. They had an unbelievable. They would create much like I guess you could do today, but they would create a vacuum of space between tiled floor and the subfloor, and under that subfloor, which would have a basement under it, they would start a fire. And during the colder months, and it would warm up through that void, and you'd walk around and you would kick off your fucking flip flops, your sandals, whip them off, and still have your tootsies nice and toasty walking throughout your Roman fort of sorts.
It's imperfect, Tom. I mean, nobody will say that fire won't heat you, but like carbon monoxide will. No,
you see, this is the thing. The void, it's below the void again. You have a subfloor, and it's below the subfloor. So,
all right,
yeah.
I'm not knocking them. Seems, for a country that doesn't strike me as being cold all that often.
But they weren't. Yeah, you're thinking of just Italy. Rome was everywhere. Rome was as far as the fucking setting sun at one stage. You know what I mean? In their eyes, like there was all the way to Bavaria, all the way to fucking England. England is a cowl bastard place. We talked about it very recently in our what was the name of the tree got chopped down episode?
The Sycamore Gap tree.
What wall was it leaning against?
Hadrian's Wall.
There you go. Romans. That was the Romans, stretching 73 fucking miles, Jerry. 73 miles. Across Britain from Wall's End to the east of Bounds and Solway, which isn't really up in Scotland, but it makes for way more interesting to say it as it is. But it was
speaking of which, Tom, we told our listeners that we would give them an update on the Sycamore Gap tree as and when more information came out. None has, but it was almost certainly those two lads.
I've gotten we have a listener who is from not very far from there. He has the inside track, and I'll relate to you on next week's episode.
Excellent.
I will. Yeah, I will. Nice. I'll get some out of it.
Not on the air, because that could be, that.
Oh yeah.
That pesky scandalous libel thing.
Built in 122 AD, and at one stage it was 4.5 meters high. Now,
Hadrian's
Wall. Now think about what it sounds like when I describe it fully. So 4.5 meters wall to say a 5-foot person of the time would have looked pretty fucking massive. 4.5 meters. So you have 3'4" in every meter.
Right.
So now you're up close to probably 13 foot high, like 13, 14 foot high. You're looking up at this and there was 16 forts, 80 mile castles, and 160 turrets along its length. Game of Thrones sound any?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's that's the wall.
That's the wall.
Because as it is these days, like you say to yourself, look, you'd vault that thing, so you would.
Yeah.
Any decent horse should get you across it. It's only 3 foot tall.
4.5 meters. 4.5 fucking meters.
You ain't getting past that now.
They did build concrete. They made incredible concrete. They even made concrete that could set underwater and everything else. Just so I throw it out there, because we've touched on concrete a lot, even though it would be deemed a relatively new product? No. They invented very good quality concrete. And finally, Jer, from this is something we all love. There's a person going doesn't go, fucking class, I love that. You're hanging, Jer. You're hanging. Or you're in around town by yourself. You haven't time to be sitting down to grub and you're gonna grab something. What would food at a pace be known as that would be deemed probably an American fucking invention?
Uh, like sandwiches,
Go go speedier than that. What broader than that? Style of food.
junk food, fast food,
Ah, fast food. They
fast food.
invented fast food prior to these lads, and probably I still even circumnavigating these guys. We were all just would sit down to a meal, and
Right,
then you would not eat in between those meals. You would sit down to a meal. There was no fast food, grab it and go.
right.
The Romans, when they had
Well,
10,000 men, they'd have an on the move around Britain and whatnot. They'd have food trucks. They'd actually have catering trucks. Seriously, would pull up and make actual burgers for up to 10,000 men who could eat it in their hand without having to waste time sitting down to a big meal, getting out napkins, taking off armor, all that bullshit. You could just walk up to the truck and go, hey, easy on the fucking mustard. Give me a
well,
saucy, give me a fucking burger and
yeah. Let me
whatever
have a
else.
slice.
Yeah, let me have a slice. So they would literally take it in their hand and go walking, and they didn't have to waste time setting up big meals, bringing fucking big fucking shit. Just cooks. They would have fucking food trucks come along of various different nice fucking grub.
Yeah, and imagine it's like here's a ladle of like fucking stew in your hand. Which I would eat the fuck out of, Tom. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like turning my nose up at you. Give me a cup of stew walking up the road.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they actually had they had images and they had depictions. They found depictions of lads actually eating what would only be described as burgers. Two cuts of bread, some minced mystery meat. Who knows? It would have been all right. It would have been fucking GMO free and organic back then, anyway.
I think even back then, Tom, as with today, you don't pull on that string.
No, oh no. If you're not sitting down to have a conversation about it, then don't. Just stuff it in your mouth, put your fucking helmet back on, and get back in row. Do you know? Um, and that's what the Romans did for us,
And that's what the
along with
Romans
many other
did for
things like
us.
the aqueduct and whatnot. They loved the fucking aqueduct. They
Well,
didn't. They perfected it again, but they didn't. Listen, I
there,
did.
I gotta tell you what I'm gonna tell you, Tom. Okay, that's what the Romans did for us. Clarified for those that were in any doubt, and we've told you what the Irish did for us. So now here's what you can do for us, all right? You can fucking like, share, and subscribe to this goddamn podcast. I'm fucking tired telling you. Follow us on our social medias. You'll get me at Jerry McBride and him at Tom_O'Mahony, and all roads will lead to Rome, yes, but also to the Tom and Jerry show. You'll get us on the Instagrams and the Twitters. And what else can they do for us, Tom?
That's about it. Really, just tell everybody about it. Go back if it's your first time listening. Have a gander. There's a rake more episodes. We have rakes more in the pipeline, so don't fear not. You're joining us right at the cusp of a lot of fun things coming down the line.
Yes.
Jerry has told you what to do in the way of subscription. If it's your first time, hit the bell. If it is Spotify, but we are getting an awful lot of traffic through Apple and whatnot. So the pod link will take you to where you need to go. Hit subscribe to it. And if you can leave a rating of some sort, a wording of some niceties, maybe Roman numerals, write it in Latin or, whatever you feel like. We also didn't thank him for Roman numerals, by the way, because without him, we
Yeah,
wouldn't have had a Rocky 4 or 3 or even fucking 2, you
Yeah,
know?
I'll tell you what else. I'll tell you what else the listeners can do. Get a tattoo of the Tom and Jerry show somewhere on your body using a tattoo built by that guy that we said we'd cycle back round
O'Neill's.
to. And I've
O'Neill
O'Neill, yeah, I
in New
forgot all
York,
about
yeah.
him. Yeah, there you go.
O'Reilly.
An
O'Reilly.
Irishman.
O'Neill's make footballs.
O'Neill's make footballs. You want to get that sorted out. You do not want a tattoo done by an O'Neill's football. Let me
No.
tell you that much, right? I got one of them in the face when I was a child. Let me tell you,
And
I've left a tattoo on me for 4 weeks. But O'Reilly, there you go. If you're wondering why your child has let you down and got a bunch of shit tattoos, it's an Irish guy's problem.
there you go. Right. Till next week.
Yeah, till next week. Why next week may actually be the season finale of this season of the Tom and Jerry Show. Thought I'd throw that in for you right now. We've got a wonderful episode lined up for a big season closer, but it won't be a season closer if we think of another great idea. But I don't think we're going to top this one, Tom.
No. Right. Mind yourself.
Good luck.